really interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, really interesting how he considered the fold so heavily because people just under bluff in these $400 tournaments. It's really, really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, what are his bluffs? You know, like if we really think about it, like sure, ace high, like ace high has some showdown value if you had ace five, and when he raises the turn with maybe some backdoor diamond draw or something like that, he actually gets called. And on this kind of board, like what hands do you have that you're folding?
And it's gonna have some misdraws and things too. So I think calling is the only option myself. Let's see if Boogaloo got away from it. Ooh, call is 6.
So this is close between call.
Really interesting. So call is 6, raise is 7,500 is 10 points. And I'm going to say he said that because this is a very bad player. And so he thinks the very bad player is going to stack off here with worse queens a lot. I'm going to guarantee that's what he's going to say. Very interesting, though. I thought call for sure was the right answer. I never am in this spot. I don't know. Interesting spot, too. I think this is a little bit of a lesson for everyone out there, too. A lot of times, the hands we want to float with, like this one, are better as raises. So this kind of falls in that category.
Yeah, and he was kind of an echo chamber for us there, saying, you know, we just get better hands to call and worse to fold.
Yep.
Like he's going to have some gut shots in his range. He's going to have spade draws. He's going to have king X. And we kind of know, I mean, we kind of identify kind of what cards are going to be bad for us on future streets, and we're aware how to proceed on those cards.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's a very good point. Man. You right.
That was the best. You didn't say anything. You won. Just straight up.
You won. I'm just spewing.
All right, so ooh, look at this. You're not opening this. You just looked at this. You're not opening.
Button cut off, hijack, low jack, under the gun one. You are right.
Come on now. Okay. I am. So let's see if he.
He's got to open it, or there wouldn't be a hand.
You wouldn't
I'm
be a
already
quitter.
down on points.
You're already down on points in real life. Now, obviously, you're gonna cheat, but
I'm gonna evolve.
you're gonna adapt, right?
All right, let's play it.
I'm going to cry if he says he's folding here. Like, if he's like, yeah, you should be folding this in this kind of tournament, and you were actually right. All right, cool.
Wah, wah.
Like a spot where we have
Ah!
standard,
Yes.
and the reason is because queen.
I just want to say for the record, that this is the best 3-point score I've ever gotten in my life. Because the right answer was fold.
Right? But you heard what he said about the tables. This is a 3K.
Whoa, here comes the excuses. 10
The
points
excuses
fold.
to
It
open
says right
if your table is
here.
particularly tight and weak. Welcome to the $5 2K world. I mean, you know, the $11 10K. I'm opening this, yeah, for sure.
This is the best 3 points of my life.
That's hilarious. And everybody's 50.
Nailed it. What the hell kind of play is that from King Queen? Who does that?
What the hell? Yeah, so Mad Dog.
Jonathan Little's an absolute crusher, so it's nice to have him.
Yeah, I agree, and I
Just
always love
coaching.
playing right after sessions like this because I feel like my brain's warmed up. I'm thinking through things, and so it's a good way to start your session for sure.
Right. All right, guys, this is it.
What's up, Mike? You want to give a gist? He was saying Narco Cop was playing about depipping about 28% of hands. He had been very aggressive in this $10 buy-in, and here are the options to fold, to call, to raise to 1,200, raise to... What? Wait a minute, he made it 800, and my man's giving options to 12 and 1,400 ounces. So it's already getting kind of spicy. That's so nasty. To be on the site with these other crushers, you know, well-known poker public figures is pretty exciting, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I didn't mention that when I was kind of giving a little intro here too. You know, Assassinato, Matt Affleck, John Little, all coaches on the site, so very highly respectable, quality poker content.
Yep, Evan Jarvis as well. You know, remember Evan Jarvis, Matt Affleck, Assassinato, John Little.
Yeah, so I guess that just makes sense. He just have the ace of clubs in his hand. That's interesting, though. I
How
thought
many
that was
points you got?
interesting.
You didn't do that bad. 45.
I like how you just pat me on the back. You didn't do that bad. Well, yeah, good job, buddy. Like,
The back.
I remember I got the higher score in the first one. So, we're 1 for 1, buddy.
I just want to know.
Calling, guys. Let's see if we're good.
Similar situation. That's pre-flop? I think pre.
All right, guys, we're checking, I guess. Oh, for fuck's sakes.
One of the things I see people when it comes to poker is when you can get to the turn, there's an opportunity.
When you're facing a min raise or just a touch more than a min raise, and there's an ante in play, which is going to be the case in most tournaments, I think, going forward, you want to defend pretty wide. If your opponent's making a 2.
All right, cool. You're going 1,400.
I'm going 1,400, guys.
I'm gonna go call with the arm and just see what happens.
All right, and
I would fold in game though, for the record, in case that's the winning end.
You won. You win. I have to concede. You win.
14K.
14K, let's do it.
Well, no, we cannot win. This is a pretty rough spot because damn it.
Mm-hmm. Where do you gonna get my chat? They like naughty things. They like just beer, alcohol,
Alright, let's do I can do a $10 ACR giveaway.
$10 ACR giveaway courtesy of my man Toe. For me beating that ass heads up in this. Sorry. No, I'm kidding. We'll do this. We'll have to do it at least once a week, man. And then we'll do it every week a couple times.
So it's a tie.
I guess we got to give out $10 to each other's communities. We'll just do our own $10 free roll for each. Or does that sound fair?
Yes. You know what this means.
You win. I give his chat $10. Take it.
So that's cool because we have 2 ties and then a win from you and a win from me. This is like the epic battle. It's perfect. It's great.
Yeah, we're even Stevens.
This is awesome.
Take it.
I love it.
You know,
Stop. We got a giveaway going. Let's run the giveaway for the $10 ACR winner. Closing the giveaway. Drawing the winner. My man Cesar getting the $10 ACR giveaway for this one. What's up, guys? We are live. Live. Ginger coming in. She got 3rd in a high 5 last night. She says, I make her better. Thank you, Ginger. That is awesome. Congratulations on your run. You do the work. You do all the work. I always tell you, you're one of my favorite people to watch because to see how your game has come over the last couple years has been amazing. 21-month resub. Thank you for that. What's up, guys? Happy Saturday morning. Morning for me. Might be afternoon for you. It's 9 o'clock for me. We get fresh out of bed. Get this going. So yeah, we got quizzes going today on pokercoaching.com website. Now that I know not to play aces against 10-2, what are we learning today? So coincidentally, the very first quiz we're going to do today is how to play these aces, since we took 3rd last night as well. It's kind of funny. I took 3rd in the 1650 7.5K last night in a 3-way pot against King 10 and 10-2 for the chip lead, and I had aces and lost. And then my session before that, I was actually took 3rd in the same tournament with Kings to 8-9 offsuit. So I'm not the guy to talk to about playing, the top 1% of hands. Let's talk about everything else. Thanks for the good run, Beats. I appreciate you. Thanks for stopping by, guys. So yeah, this is pokercoaching.com, Jonathan Little's poker coaching site. They have these quizzes on here that we do every Saturday for those of you who are fresh here for the first time. And you get these points as you go along. Pokercoach.com, !PC in the chat. I'll do it right now. Bang. There's a link for you if you want to check it out. They do have some free options and where you get 20 or so quizzes and some homeworks and stuff like that. And then if you sign up for the $50 a month, actually I think it's $40 a month, you get over 600 quizzes from a bunch of different coaches, from me, from Crazy Sixes, from Jonathan Little, from Assassinato, from Matt Affleck, Evan Jarvis. So all things to check out. We do this every Saturday. Sadly, this Saturday, Sixes can't be with us. He's a movie star. I don't know if you guys know, but he got a role playing, forget the guy's name. He's the first black man who invented something. It's like a biopic. I forget. But he's off. Somehow he got the main role through his stream. Someone reached out to him. He got the main role in that. And so he's filming. So it's just gonna be us today. Machinist Joe in the house. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Cyrus here and still awake from last night, which means he's got a little bit of whiskey in the bottom of his glass still, and he's going to be staggering in here. Yeah. So there we go, guys. All right, first quiz we got here. Just so you can kind of see what the quizzes look like, we'll back up right here. Here's all the quizzes. You can see a bunch of them we've been doing over the few weeks. And they have tournament quizzes and they have cash game quizzes. And you can see all the different coaches here. Matt Affleck, like I said, Jonathan Little, Assassinato. Here's Crazy Sixes. Here's me. I don't see Evan Jarvis here. He does mostly cash game, but he's in here somewhere. So yeah, these are the quizzes. And you can see how often quizzes are put out because all these blanks here are the ones that were put out since the last time we streamed, which was Saturday. And that's a lot of quizzes here. So they're coming out really often. I'm OCD, so I was going to fill in these little gaps here today. $1,000 buy-in tournament. I'm sorry, $800 buy-in tournament here with Jonathan. Is this John? This might be Matt Affleck. I don't know. I told you guys. It's early. We're figuring it out. We're going. Thanks for the nice round, Machinist, if I didn't say that already. And here we go. Aces, aces, aces on the button. What we'll do is we will play the quiz, and then I will reach out to you guys to see what you guys think we should do. And then I'll say my piece about what I think we should do. And then we'll click the button and see what he thinks we should do. And we're all going to just take this little journey and get better. Who's ready? Who's ready? Aces. I love aces. I love aces too. Let's find out what he's going to do and play the video and go from there. Grass Monkey in the house. What's up, boss?
All right, this hand is still from the Venetian 800. The next series of hands will all be from that tournament. We got aces on the button. It's a pretty good hand.
Very good hand.
We're going to raise to 500 here. If you want to min raise 500, raise 600. It's all kind of the same. Doesn't matter much. Not worth our time discussing too much. We raise to 500 and the big blind calls. And it comes king 10-6, 3 diamonds. Big blind checks. And it's on us. Should we check? Bet 400, bet 800, and bet 1,200.
I'm going to give it 2 seconds because... What? Thank you for that sub, Granonymous Monkey. Granonymous Monkey? How do I pronounce it? I see GR Anonymous Monkey. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. I'm sorry, not the follow, the sub, even better. Enjoy that Toe Army emote. Here we are with aces on an all-diamond board. A little sticky. These are the kind of boards I get with aces. So this is right in my wheelhouse. What are you guys doing out there? You clicking the check button? C-betting to 400, a little bit of third pot. Betting 800, going a little meat on it. Or 1,200, bombing it. 400 says Famous Spies. 1,200 says Deuterino. 4 biddy says Beats. 800 says Ginger. Everybody already jumping out there. 800 from Opus. 800 from Salt Zombie. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Machinist Joe doing 800. Everybody betting. Nobody checking. I ain't gonna lie, guys. 800 from Cyrus. Grass Monkey 800. I think Hope it says check is okay, I think, but I bet I would check. We're 100 bigs deep. Monkey says pot. He's going ham on it. I would check. Here's a question for you guys. For all of you that were betting, which is all of you, if you bet and you get re-raised, what are you doing? We're going to flat the re-raise on the all diamond board. And then definitely going to be facing a turn bet looking down the road. And how much is the re-raise? I mean, I'm going to say it's generally 2.5 to 3.5x, right? That's generally what they are. And we have no diamond backdoors. You know what I mean? Raise folds as red dogs. I think the problem is, like, we're going to be folding the best hand a lot. What if it's got something like king, queen with a diamond? One diamond. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then calling the re-raise, like you guys said, and then just calling the turn bet. Because there's always going to be a turn bet if there's a re-raise, right? Like, it's a guarantee. And so if we're just calling to then check fold turn, you know, that's kind of dirty. It's kind of dirty. My lucky's got ace, queen, and diamonds, says Joe. Can't fear the Reaper. Definitely can't fear the Reaper. Another diamond turn sucks too. It does, but at least that will save us money, right? Like, another diamond comes in, it's an easy check fold. Ace of diamonds can do a re-raise. Absolutely. I'm just thinking like king, queen, queen, king, jack with like the jack or the queen of diamonds can re-raise. Ace, king, no diamond could potentially re-raise. Although ace, king, probably 3-bets us, right? So I would check. Let's see what the army did here. The bet the flop clicks info on what he has. The red dogs, I would disagree on that one because I think he could be re-raising us with, like I said, king, queen, king, jack with a diamond. Ace, king with no diamond. The bear, ace of diamonds. So we don't know if he's betting with drawing hands that have good equity, or if we're screwed. He's got king 10 instead of sixes. You know what I mean? Or the diamonds. I personally would check. Let's see. The army said, let's see, mostly 800s, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 800s. 7 800. So we'll click the 800 for you guys. The more you talk, the more I like Jack Famous. That's why we're here. Yeah, so we'll click 800. I would definitely check. Let's find out what happens. Oh, he likes a
I think
small
these
bet,
flop
400.
textures, the monotone boards, are textures that a lot of players play incorrectly in these positions. So big blind has a lot more flushes than we do because we're not raising hands like 8 deuce suited, 8-3 suited, 7 deuce suited, all those small suited parts hands he's calling with, but we're not raising with. So he has more flushes, but we still have a lot of strong hands, and he has a lot of hands that either will call a couple of bets. And also the thing is, the big blind does not check raise ever enough here. The big blind here is supposed to check raise a lot with hands like queen of diamonds, 5 of clubs, you know, jack of diamonds, 7 of hearts, ace of diamonds, X. And I don't find people find enough check raises here. So I actually think very strongly the best play is to bet 400. You want to be betting like a third pot on these monotone boards. I gave that a score of 10. Checking, I gave a score of 5. Betting 800, a score of 3. Betting 1200 is a score of 1. We just want to get money in with his auto calls like any king 10 or 6, or his like queen jacks and stuff. We want to get those bets in before the board gets much worse. We bet 400, and the opponent raises to 1,000. Should we fold, call, raise to 2,500, raise to 4,300?
Yeah, so I find this one interesting. Guys, that sounds good. That's cool. This one does look familiar, dude. I mean, I think we may have done this last week, and somehow it didn't save. So interesting. He says that a lot of people should be check raising these boards a lot, right? And that was my big fear. That's why I was checking. Excuse me, but he says that he's exploiting the fact that the public in general in these $800 buy-in tournaments don't do that enough. And then what's funny is he bets the 400, which is cool. I totally get it. But then the worst happens. He gets check raised. This is so hard to play this way. So hard to play this way. We check flop, and then check call turn, and then evaluate river and check call that a lot when it's blank. It's just kind of easier and cleaner. Here we got some options. Another diamond gets murky. Another diamond is easy though, right? Because then we just give up the aces. Famous Friends is calling. Cyrus is calling. Beats is calling. Grandma. Red Dogs is calling. Ginger's calling. Not excited, but I call. The check raise. Me too. I think I'm calling too. Salt's calling. Deuterino calling. Everybody calling. Facing a turn bet and crapping ourselves. That's what we're all doing. we're all here. But this is exactly the situation I was trying to avoid by checking. And like I said, I can definitely see the argument too. Bet small because we're trying to get his Bear Kings and his 10x and some of the draws to come along. Yeah, but the raise is nasty, right? Get my depends ready, he says. All right, cool. So these are the options. We'll scroll up a little bit. Everyone's just calling. I didn't see anyone clicking raise. I would be calling too. Let's click call and see what happens. 10 points.
Our opponent made our decision pretty easy here because
the size is so
his
small.
Poor sizing. So folding becomes a 0, calling 10, 2500 1, 4300 1. When he uses a small sizing, he could be doing it with a hand like king, queen, queen, jack, king, jack. A lot of kings. Maybe he's doing it with ace 10. He could be doing it with like the ace of diamonds, queen of diamonds. Some of those hands that I talked about, he should be check raising in the last part of this video. And even if he has a hand like 10-6, we have enough equity. Can never fold here. We call. Turn is 6 of clubs.
Good card.
Our opponent bets 1300. Should we fold? Call. Raise to 4000. Raise to 7000.
Opus, thank you for the resub. 5 months. My man. Fist bumps. Thank you, boss. Speed says, knowing how wide they can check raise, have to call, they could shut down on 9 diamonds. Yes. However, they shouldn't. They should rep the diamonds. But, yeah. And I think rarely people like check raise, check turn. Right? Salt's calling. I think we call it here as well. It says red, call. I think it's just a call. It says Opus. Joe's calling. Famous is calling. I'm calling. Great thing about the 6 is that if he had something like king 10, he now got negated. And we still have, basically top and bottom pair. The other thing is we had 1300 and a 4600, so we're just getting a price. So I agree with all of you guys. Ginger calling as well. We're all calling. Everybody calling. We're not scared. We have aces. We love aces. I'm calling. Let's find out what happens. 10 points.
Again, our opponent made our decision pretty easy here with a poor bet sizing. He should be betting pretty polar here, using a big sizing like 4,000 to put us in a tough spot with a hand like what we have. Folding is a score of 0. Calling is a score of 10. He just made our sizing too much. Our hand is really good. We don't get called by much worse if we raise. I did give raising to 4,000 a score of 5. He bet so small that I think his range is weaker, and we can get some value out of our hand. We're beating a hand like king 10 now. A hand like king queen still might call a raise. King jack might call a raise. The bear ace of diamonds is still going to call a raise. So there's some merit to raising because now we beat his 2 pairs and his full house combos are reduced. And then re-raising to 7,000 score 1 is just way too large of a sizing. We don't get that value. We call. The river's the 3 of hearts, and our opponent bets 3,000. Should we fold, call, raise to 7,000, or go all in?
Here we are. He's betting again. Ooh. I mean, it sucks that he raised us and went bet. 3,000 into 9,000. Salt's on me calling. Red calling. Ginger's calling. She's not scared. Not scared. Dude's in there calling. Joe's calling. I'm calling too. I mean, we're getting 3 to 1. If he has a king, cool. Take the equity and call his beats. Call. Non-diamond and small bets from the villain means a call. I agree, Red. Famous, I agree as well. And he gave us a good price. Like, he could have just bonded and easily put us in a really, really hard spot, which is again why I like to check on the flop and then either bet turn or check call turn, check call river. That's how I would do it. 0 for just call. I like that nobody's raising because when we raise here, we're only getting called by 6 diamonds and boats. So I agree that we just all call. There we go. We aced it.
Again, our opponent made our decision very simple here. Folding to
aced
score
it.
2. I don't really see much ways to fold here. Calling to score 10, 7,003, and going all in 0. We still beat some of his value bets like King, Queen, King, Jack, and King 10. And also we beat his bluffs like the Ace of Diamonds, some of his Queen of Diamonds. Really, he should be sizing really big on this river and being polarized. Put us in a tough spot with this hand. So easy call, and he shows the Ace of Diamonds, Jack of Spades, and his bluff probably could have worked if he used proper sizing and went just large to set up a river shove. So
there we go. Back to quizzes. That was a good one. I do remember that one from last week, dude. The cash one's mixed up in here. Hang on a sec. There's Evan Jarvis. There we go. There we go. Nice one. Very nice one. Nice little warm up. Warm up with aces. The cool thing about this little grouping of quizzes is that it's one from each of the coaches here, right? So we did Matt. We'll go do John now, and then we'll jump into Sastiano and really melt our brains. How's that sound? And then if we have time from that, we'll go on to whatever you guys want. I know last week people were asking for more multi-way hands, so we can dive into those and try and find some of those as well. This time it's kings. Holy hell. I didn't see this. It's kind of funny, like, how to play these top-tier hands. It's interesting because even though they're top-tier hands, they can get sticky on flops like the one we just saw, right? Not him. He hurts my head, says Cyrus. We gotta get the full spectrum of possibilities, Cyrus. Gotta elevate your mind, man. Let's find out what to do with the kings.
Here we have Pocket Kings in a $1,000 buy-in World Series of Poker event. In second position under the gun +1. Should we fold? Don't do that. Call. Raise to 400 or raise to 600.
Wow, I think it's funny that he's putting in an option here. Do we even open the kings? How many bigs deep? We're 87 blinds deep. 400, 400, 400, 400, 400, and a 600 from red. I personally am more of a 400 type guy. Myself, although I know that we're 100 bigs deep. And so if you go 600, that's definitely not a mistake. How much is that? That's 4x? It feels a little high. But it's not a mistake this deep. Grass Monkey says open for 2.2. He's going off the charts. That's funny, Grass Monkey. I would min raise it. But we got to go with the options that we got. Looks like almost everyone got doing 400 out there. Cool. I'm down with it. Let's do 400. 4x with 4 people before the blinds. Basically, the idea is when you are, 100-ish bigs deep, that you shouldn't be min raising. You want to build bigger pots, and you want to disincentivize, a million callers. I find, especially in the mid stakes and small stakes online, that min raises just work, and you get to play more pots and play more flop, post flop against worse players. But there is a valid argument, and I definitely change this when I play like live in the World Series myself. I don't necessarily min raise right out the gate when we're so deep. I'll go 2.2 to 2.5. So there is some argument for going a little bigger because everyone's so deep. Isn't 4x going to limit the calling range? I do think that is definitely some truth. So the argument there is that it's okay to 4x the kings if we're 4xing everything that we open at this stack size. In our range from this position. So as long as we're not 4xing kings and 2.5 or 2.2, something like ace queen, ace jack, ace 10 suited. As long as we're 4xing everything, I think it's okay. But you are right. We do narrow the range the bigger our bet sizes come. But you said you're in for 600, that's why you asked. But that's interesting, Red, because if you have kings, do we want to narrow? We kind of want to get called wide, right? If you're scared. if you're screwed. So yeah, let's go 400. Masses went 400. I would go 400 too. Let's see what happens. 10 points.
This is a spot where we want to make our very standard raise, which is going to be to about 2.75 big blinds or so, given our relatively deep stacks. If you think a raise to 600 will get an exact equal amount of action as a 400 raise, then 600 is obviously better because it just gets more money in the pot.
There you go.
But the problem with making it bigger is very often you get less action. And we want to get action from all sorts of junk. So now, the player in the low jack calls, and then it's on to us. Low jack calls and cutoff makes it 1,350. Then it's back to us. Should we fold, call, re-raise to 3,200, or re-raise to 5,200?
Interesting. Doc said, start being more advanced in playing will vary the answer. I agree. I mean, if you are less comfortable post-flop, then going bigger to narrow ranges, I think, is actually a very valid reason to do that as well. Just going bigger in general with all of your bets. Slightly bigger in your opening, slightly bigger in your 3-bets, slightly bigger in your C-bet sizes, to really narrow ranges because you're less comfortable getting in sticky situations post. Then absolutely, there's definitely a good argument for that. But then I would say get better post because this game is definitely a post-flop game. All the money you make in this game is definitely post-flop. Pre-flop ranges are important. You don't want to open king 8 off under the gun and stuff like that. But, when you're looking at odds in poker, so often it's 50-50, 60-40. It's coin flipping constantly. And so if you're always just kind of playing the odds and things like that, you're always going to be doing this break even, slightly up, slightly down. It's learning how to really exploit players and take away the pots you're not supposed to win. And getting max value on the hands that you do win. That really take you from this, to this. That's the golden secret in a nutshell. Everybody's saying raising to 3,200. Dog says, I think you could always keep your pre-flop raise 2.5 to 3x and then just bet heavier on pots, making your turn bet bigger. Yeah, absolutely. I was saying the same thing. 3,200, 5,200 from Grass Monkey, that funky monkey. Beats going 5,200 to isolate to one opponent. Cyrus arguing it's too big. 3,500. Ricky, what's happening? Good to see you. Happy Saturday. 5,200 this deep. Let's play for stacks, says Deuterino. 3,200 from most people. I am going 5,200. One thing, too, 3,200 is a click back. There's an interesting argument here because 3,200 is a click back, and that always seems crazy strong. You're never going to click back 4-bet ace king or ace queen. I think you would bet bigger with those hands. For me in these low blinds, click back is always aces, kings, maybe queens. Just seems like almost always, especially deep, right? I like playing for stacks too, especially if he's got a hand like ace king, ace queen suited. You want to go cray cray. He is tagged. The problem with the 5,200, as what I'm looking at here, Deuterino, is that because I think I would go 1,500 by default as well, is that he only has 11-6. I guess we bet half a stack and let him jam, right? And just YOLO kings. Opus says in real life he's going somewhere between 32 and 52, so something like 48, 45, something like that. Interesting enough, Opus, in real life, I think I'm doing the same. I think in real life, if I didn't have these two options to choose from, I would be going something like 4,500 for close to a third of his stack. So yeah, I think the same. All right, everybody going 3,200 except for me and Deuterino for the most part. And Beats and Grass Monkey. So I think there was way more 3,200s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, yeah. So we'll go 3,200. I think I would go bigger. 4.3 would be ideal. I agree, Beats. Let's find out. 10 points. He likes to keep it small.
Again, don't fold.
Doesn't want to put so much of a stack in there.
So now, the question is, do we want to play for all of our money against a tight, aggressive kid in this multi-way pot? Well, a big problem with calling, which would actually normally be a viable strategy if we were playing heads up, is that if we call 1350, the player in the low jack is going to call as well, just getting good odds closing the action, which is not really ideal because they're not really making a mistake. And for that reason, I think we want to lean towards re-raising. This is definitely a spot where if we re-raise at 3,200, the cutoff is going to be calling us a ton. And that's fine because we have kings, right? And if the cutoff does jam it all in for all 12,000 chips or 13,000 chips, we are going to reluctantly call it off. Re-raising to 5,200 would be a little bit much. I definitely don't think we need to use that big of a sizing unless we're just really convinced the opponent has a good hand. But having no real good read on our opponent, I'm going to lean towards using the smallish 3-bet size. Or 4-bet size, I suppose. So we do get called. Flop comes queen, jack, jack, 2 diamonds. We have the king of diamonds. Should we check, bet 1,200, bet 3,200, or bet 5,200?
Feels like 3,200 invites low jack to come along for the flop. The problem is it's a 4-bet. It's a click bet 4-bet. So like low jack has to have a really strong hand to come along. Like that's just, we are screaming strength. Nasty flop, says Cyrus. 1,200 from Salt Zombie Poker. What is it? Pot of 7,200. Super duper small. Opus is not fun. Bet 3,200. Check raise, says Joe. Interesting, Joe. I got a question about that one. 1,200 from the dude, man. Check from Ginger. Controversy. I think, honestly, I would be checking too. If we could check raise here and he jams, like, we're calling. But it kind of sucks. I do think we can get 2 streets from a queen, but we're not getting 3 streets. Beat's going with check. Deuteron says overpot jam. The problem with that is then, like, we should chase out almost every queen. Right? We definitely chase out 9s and 10s. We chase out ace king. He just said overbet pot, booyah mouse. Dodd says 3,200. I personally think I would check myself. And then obviously just call off. Or if he checks back, bet turn. And then probably bet river. I think that's what I would go. Dodd says 3,200. If I was going to bet, I like 3,200. Makes him feel like he's got some fold equity if he comes over the top with ace queen. So I think if I was going to bet, I like 3,200 myself as well. Check call for sure. Check raise. Who said check raise? Because I was going to say something about that. That was Machine to Chef. So the problem with check raise, when we check raise this board, what's calling? We're check raising for value, right, Joe? We're not check raising as a bluff. So for check raising for value, we have to expect something to be paying off that value, right? And then that's only diamonds and ace queen. And what diamonds call a 4-bet? Ace king of diamonds. We block ace king of diamonds. So he can't have ace queen of diamonds either. He can't have ace jack of diamonds. So he has to be out here with ace 10 of diamonds. Calls a 4-bet. Wow, that's like it, right? King of diamonds blocker, queen of diamonds, and jack of diamonds are on the board, Cyrus. So they can't have ace queen of diamonds. They can't have ace jack of diamonds. They can't have ace king of diamonds. They have only ace 10 of diamonds. So that's why I wouldn't check raise. I would check. Everyone said 3,200 though, so I'll go with the masses. But I would definitely check. Diamonds are out. Agreed. Which is less of what he's going to bluff or maybe even potentially call, or less what he's going to call off with, right? But he might still bluff. And ace queen, like, we're going to get the value from ace queen regardless, right? So I would definitely check. Everyone said 3,200. Let's see what that says. 8 points. Best answer was super small.
a rough scenario.
I could see that too.
We currently lose to
Super
pocket
small
queens
keeps in under
or
pairs.
pocket jacks. There are almost no combinations of those. There are 4 total. We lose to 6 combinations of aces. So that's 10 hands total that we lose to, plus perhaps ace jack suited. There's 2 of those. Maybe king jack suited, probably not. Maybe queen jack suited, probably not. Although, some people do call those hands. So we're losing to something like, I don't know, 16, 18, 20 combinations total, depending on how loose our opponent is. So how many combinations of hands are we beating? Well, we're beating ace queen, which is great because there are just 12 of those most likely unless the opponent folds to the 4-bet. King queen suited, although those are very blocked. And then we also beat the pairs, right? The problem is the pairs won't give a whole lot of action unless we use a very small sizing. So this is a spot where we have two options. We can either check or we can bet small. If we bet big, what's going to happen is we're only going to get action from king, queen, and better. And if our opponent has king, queen, and better, well, we're actually not in that great a shape, right? So we either need to bet small to try to get called by almost our opponent's entire range, or we need to check to induce bluffs. And I think either line is perfectly fine and viable. Do know, though, the plan is not to check fold at any point. We are putting all of our money in this pot, even though the board is pretty dicey. If it was queen jack 3, it would be even worse, because then there are more combinations of pocket jacks available. That said, maybe it's not actually that much worse, depending on how many ace jack, king jack, queen jack, jack 10 our opponent has. Some people will have all of the suited versions in their range. Some people will have almost none, depending on their exact strategy. So anyway, either check or bet small. I decided to go for a small bet. I like the small bet. Notice that if our opponent is behind, they are drawing very near dead, and they are, maybe getting the right odds to set mine, but your opponent can't know that. And also, we just protect our equity a bit in case we're against a hand like ace king or ace 10 suited that we definitely want to either get to put money in the pot or fold. So I bet the opponent does call. Turn is a 2 of hearts. Should we check, bet 2,200, bet 4,200, or go all in?
All right, here we are. Ace plus and king, queen plus. Yeah, and then some of that we block, right? So yeah. So here we are. We bet small, and they just call 8,600 behind 9,600 point in the pot. 2,300 says Red Dogs, leading them along. 4,200 says Beats. Taking his line, he says 2,200 from Cyrus. If he went small first, likely to go small again, says Red Dogs. Ginger 2,200, famous all in. She has Joe 4,200. Didn't change up, keep going small. 22 from Opus. $3,000 from Ricky. She's going somewhere in the middle. She's going off the charts. The dreaded aces says Red Dogs. Yeah, for me, I would jam it, man. We bet small. Here's the thought process too. If they happen to have something like I don't know, the pocket 8 stuff, the pocket 9s, the pocket 10s, we're not getting any more value from those hands. There is no way those hands are calling a 4-bet, calling a flop bet, and calling a turn bet. So I think no matter what size we bet, we're only getting called by like the Queen X hands at this point. And so I would jam. I mean, there's 9,600 out there and 8,600 in our stack. I would definitely jam at this point. Because I don't think we're getting value from any of those other pairs at this point, and we'll get max value from the Queen, is what I would think. They have Jack Deuce Red, he says. Hope no one has 10 deuces. The dagger in the heart. Thanks for the salt in the wounds there, buddy. All right, everyone said, let's see, 22. We have a whole mix. 23, let's see, 1, 2, 3 22s, 2 42s, 4 22s. Looks like most people are doing The 22. So we'll go 22. I would jam it personally. Let's see what John has to say. Ooh, he likes a small bet. You're right. He's
Now
walking
that our
it.
opponent just calls the flop bet, I think we should go ahead and continue betting. But again, I do think we should use a small size.
Walking
I think
rich.
as we use a bigger size, our opponent's going to be more and more likely to make a snug fold with a queen. And you have to realize here, a queen is not actually that good, right? Because what is our 4-betting range? And how does it connect on queen, jack, jack? Well, if I do have a hand like king, jack offsuit, I'm probably just going to 4-bet it pre-flop or fold, right? If I do have maybe jack 10, well, I guess I probably don't have a whole lot of offsuit jacks. And I probably call a lot of the suited ones, but I definitely have aces and kings and queens and jacks, right? So if I have all of those hands in my range, maybe we don't have jacks pre-flop. But if we have aces, kings, and queens, that is a very strong range of hands that puts most of our opponent's hands in marginal shape. So I'm not exactly sure if we have a range advantage or a nut advantage here, but this hand is definitely decent enough to continue value betting. But the situation gets really dicey if we face aggression now because our opponent may just decide to raise primarily with jacks. So this is a nasty spot, but I don't think checking is the right play because if we check, that allows our opponent to realize their equity with all of their stuff, and they definitely could have a lot of marginal hands getting to the turn given our small flop bet size. So how do we continue getting money from those? Well, we need to use a small bet size again. So I do go 2,200. Opponent does call. River is the 4 of hearts. Should we check, bet 3,200, or go all in?
Wow, such a weird spot. Pete says Trump between 4.2 and jam. I think 4.2 is a mistake. Like, I don't want to just bet half my stack. If I'm going to bet that much, I'm already all in. So I think 4.2 is always out, in my opinion. Trying to keep 9, 9, 10, 10, and ace, queen in with small bets. The problem there is that I would argue that like 9s and 10s should be folding to a 4-bet, a C-bet, and a turn bet. I don't think they're folding to necessarily the 4-bet all the time. I don't think they're folding to the C-bet all the time. But I would think that 9s and 10s are folding to a 4-bet, a C-bet, and a turn bet. For sure. Peanut butter and jam sandwich. Cyrus jamming. 3,200, betting half our stacks is red. Opus is 32. Stack now is 6,400. And there's 14,000 in the pot. So we can bet half of our stack or we could jam. Maybe this is check call. Ricky's jamming. Joe is jamming. All in, says Rogs. For me, when we jam here, how does anything besides a jack, a boat, call us? What are we getting value from? What are we getting value from? I would check. Because they still have queens, pocket jacks, and then we literally only get value from ace, queen, maybe. So I would check call. Yeah, I mean, Red Dogs, I would check call. Marlon, what's up, buddy? Good morning. I would check call. Or I would, yeah, I would check call. King Queen's got to be crazy to call a 4-bet, a C-bet, a turn bet, and a river jam. Like, holy sweet but Jesus. Like, we are repping. He's only beating the missed flush draw. He's only beating, like, ace, king, of diamonds. Like, that's literally the only thing he's beating. Joe got persuaded. Doc said 10 a lot of betting. That's the problem. Is I don't know what we're getting called by at this point. 3,200. I mean, again, we're betting half our stack. Oh, golly. Uncomfortable. I would check. I would definitely check. I would check. Let's see what the crowd says. We got one check. 32. Check, face, or raise, and I'm probably calling. Because now all of his missed diamonds and his queen X. God, I don't know if his queen X bets for value or not. Do they make that mistake when we check river? Ace queen might bet for value? Crazy. All all in. So let's see. I see mostly 32s, I think. 1, 2, 2 jams, 3 jams, 2 32s, 3 jams, 2 all-ins, 3 jams, 2 all-ins. 3200 would be worse because he's stuck with jams. Agreed. Beats. Check, show you have a misdrawing hand. True. Check. Wow. Actually, it looks like people got persuaded. Let's go check and see what happens. 10 points for the win.
Okay, so we bet the flop and the turn. And now the question is, do we jam the river? I don't like 3,200 because if the opponent does have a queen at this point, he's probably going to call any bet. That said, some people will make a snug fold, in which case a 3,200 bet becomes better because they'll call 3,200 with a queen, but they'll fold to an all-in with a queen, and obviously that's what we're trying to get called by. So in this scenario, I'm not sure an all-in is going to get called all that often, and we could just be in bad shape, so I think we need to check and call it off reluctantly. It sure is nasty, though, if the opponent bets, because all we're really beating there are busted draws, and we kind of block those with the king of diamonds. Some people will turn a hand like pocket sevens into a bluff. Some people will have ace-10, maybe ace-10 of spades, float the flop and float the turn, and then turn it into a bluff. I think you're going to find that there just are enough bluffs that the opponent will randomly turn into a bluff, especially given our small flop and turn bet. Not just a small, but our tiny flop and turn bet that justify us checking here, looking to check, call it off. It did go check, though, and we win. I have no clue what the opponent had, but that's a dicey situation. We definitely could have just checked the flop, check, call. But I definitely think there is merit in value betting because when we value bet, we ensure we get money in the pot against the worst hands, whereas when we check, a lot of those get to check behind. Probably like what just happened here on the river.
Cool. River check was the big one. River check was definitely the big one. Die by River, thank you for the follow. All right, guys, good job. We nailed this one. We nailed this one. You guys did good on this one. We don't die, we multiply. Welcome. All right, guys, you ready? We got our brains warmed up. I like the reason for checking. Give a hand that's never calling a jam to bluff it off. Exactly, dude. And then also, like, really hard to figure out the fuck we're getting called by. You know what I'm saying? All right, guys, this is a $10 buy-in, 3.5K from Assassinato, which is going to be really interesting for a few reasons. One, that's a buy-in level most of us all play. Two, there's Assassinato playing that level, which means he's going to go crazy. Trying to destroy this field. Really interesting. Let's check out what he's got to say. Looks like he's got 7-6 of spades. Melt your brain. You ready, Cyrus? You ready? Let's screw our thinking cap on tight. Check this sucker out. All right, this one, the volume might be a little hokey because Assassinato values tend to be a little low. Any books that I recommend? So here's the thing. Like, I think if you're a beginning player, there are some books that still hold merit. So like the Harrington on Hold'ems, for sure hold some merit if you're just getting into poker and tournament poker. But if you are more advanced than that, I would say books aren't necessarily the best way to learn. I mean, obviously Jonathan Little's got a whole array of good books, and I have a bunch of them. Mastering Small Stakes Poker. Some of the other books that JL has is the stuff like Positive Poker for the mental game stuff. That's a great one. That one my wife might have right now. She's actually reading it for her life coaching stuff. I'm looking up on the shelf right now. But yeah, so let's go over to the shelf. So my version 1 is loaned out. These are good books for sure. These are the ones that I think still hold water. And so obviously I think the Mental Games of Poker by Jared Tendler, Positive Poker by Jonathan Little, I think those are very, 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 very valuable. And then the classics. Like, I don't have volume 1. I'm sorry, I have volume 1 and 2. I don't have volume 3. It looks like I loaned it out to somebody. But Harrington on Hold'em's obviously like one of the Bibles for when you're getting started. There's volume 1, here's volume 2. And then volume 3 is basically the whole book is a quiz, the whole book. Basically a test based on these 2 volumes. Those are very good. And then we have Jonathan Little's too, which somehow I'm missing volume 2 again. But Secrets of Tournament Poker, Professional Poker. Got to see him wearing pants? Yep, always. I wouldn't have gone up otherwise. Secrets of Professional Tournament Poker, volume 3. Oh, give me 1 sec. This is not professional, but I'll be back in 1 sec. Alright. This is the other one I'm checking out right now. It's actually in my on my nightstand. The newer one by JL, Mastering Small Stakes No One Hold'em, is another good one that we're reading as well too. So there's some suggestions for books. But for me, I would say get a coach, join pokercoaching.com, watch the videos, join streams like this, join the study group, stuff like that. Yeah, so no book run, which maybe I had to get out of the bathroom or not, but there you go. Cool. There we go. So that's what I'd say for books, but I think coaching and study groups is a far more way. And this too. One thing I really like about this stuff is that, oh, jeez, I ran them all out of breath. About this stuff is that it feels interactive, and you're getting coached by these coaches in a fun way that isn't just watching a 2-hour training video. So yeah, definitely. All right. I like to read how players develop. I think it helps. Absolutely. And that's the good thing about Assassinados as well. Thank you for those bits, Witzko. Is that like he does things way differently than anyone in general and way differently than any of the coaches on this program specifically. And so it's good to know all the different angles and different ways because sixes, like I always talk about my buddy Crazy Sixes, who we usually do these streams with, I am very much more Jonathan Little, Matt Affleck, and he is very much more Assassinado. And both ways can win a lot of money. Assassinado has won a shitload of money. So it's interesting, and you want to know all the different styles too, so at least you're aware of what people could be doing, right? Need to get to the day shift before I can hire my coach, but hey, thank you for that, Joe. I appreciate it. All right. Anyways, that was enough babbling, enough off the topic stuff here. Yeah, we want to talk about it. I always say it's always the same analogy because I love it so much. I say like GTO is kind of like you learn to see the matrix and you see all the, and you can read the matrix, and you need to be able to do that before you can bend the spoon. And Assassinado bends that shit in 2 double knots with a bow. So yeah. All right, let's go. Let's play this. Let's see what he's got to say.
In this hand, you're in a $10 buy-in, 3.5K guarantee. You have 7-6 of spades on the button. The low jack here is going to open. Low jack is a loose, aggressive player, normally a 28-25, so he voluntarily puts money in the pot 28% of the time. And he's raising pretty much every single time he does that. And he's getting a little out of hand here at this $10 buy-in. So yeah, we have 8,025 chips. Blinds are 200, 400 with a 50 ante. Comes around to us on the button. Here, do you want to fold, call, raise to 1,200, or raise to 1,400?
Oh, that's funny. I think we actually looked at this one a while back too. And another funny thing about this one in particular is this guy right here, Donat, is an old study partner of mine. I actually know him personally. And so that's kind of funny. Doc says fold that. I will be folding this too. 1,200 says beats. He is 3-betting it, clicking it back on the stack size. Hey, thanks for hanging out, Joe. Also, guys, for you don't know, we always record these streams, and I will put them up on the YouTube channel and post that out on Twitter and Facebook and everything. So if you ever want to watch them, the replay of them, you're more than welcome to. I appreciate you. Like, comment. If you see a spot in there that doesn't make sense or you want to talk it out, just put a timestamp on there, ask some questions. I always answer. I always get back to you. So that's available for you guys too. Everybody folding. I think folding is totally standard. Well, we know Assassinato is not folding here, but I think folding is totally standard. He is going to attack Narco Chips, who seems to be a super aggro, though. Everybody folding. Famously assuming calls. Which the problem with call, does anybody out there know technically what odds what the effective stack sizes have to be for us to call a hand like this? Do you know what that is, Famous? Give it a second. 20 to 1. 20 to 1 is the right answer. And so we're not getting the odds to just flat. 20 to 1. And so we can't do that, right? We need 16,000 to be able to profitably flat. But if we 3-bet, well, now it's different, right? Because if we 3-bet, then we can c-bet flops, and we're not just playing 7-6 suited to try and hit something and go with it. So that's a little bit of a different game. So I think call is out. I think 1,400 is okay. I think 1,200 is probably best in this scenario to just try and get initiative so we could baby c-bet pot potentially and take it down. My guess is that's what it's going to be. I, too, would fold, and I do think that's standard. But we're in the Assassinato brain. 1,200. I think 1,200 too. Let's see what happens. Bink.
If you said fold here, that is perfectly standard.
Perfectly standard. For a reason.
You could even justify an all-in here. Normally, a fold or an all-in is the two options you should pick between here. And if you just felt, okay, he's normally opening 25% of the hands, but I don't know for a fact he's opening that much here. I don't want people to see I'm rejamming 7-6 suited, just in case D. Griley comes along for the ride. Okay, I don't really buy it. I think if I put all in here, it should be an all-in, but since I didn't give you that option, if you thought it has to be a fold or an all-in, there's no all-in on these options, I guess it's a fold. Okay, that's fine. Those are standard for the reason. If you said call, I really don't like that because if he jams, does that reopen the action? There's a lot of squeezing here.
Well, that's true too. I didn't think about
that. That's a legal raise, right? Yeah, that'll be a legal raise if he jams. And smart, aggressive players will just rejam on top of that because they know if you didn't rejam 20x, you just have nothing there because that's one of the easiest stacks to jam. I think you get jammed on by this person quite often. Now, if you min raise here, this at lower stakes tournaments, this is kind of where I workshop new plays. I try to find guys that play somewhat seriously, and I try to workshop new plays. I've been toying around with the min raise with very interesting results. A lot of guys, well, first of all, if they snap call you, they're at the butt end of their range. If they time bag for a long time, they usually have something. People play very directly toward it. People get very worried about it. They think it's very odd. They don't like it. Not as many people jamming over it as you would think. So I think 1,400 or 1,200 works. I think you can get away with 1,200 here. Limit poker. Limit hold'em. Now he calls you. Very quickly, I might add. And he checks to you very quickly on this board. Now here, do you want to check? Bet 1,100 into 3,400, bet 1,700 into 3,400, or bet 2,200 into 3,400.
Interesting spot, yeah, and I think that's probably a big reason why he was playing this $11 3.5K is that he was messing around with clickbacks, and so he dropped stakes to try to fool around. So now the question becomes: C-bet Dog's already out there with the 1,100. Joe, thanks again for those bits, man. Have a good day, buddy. I think setting up for the C-bet by taking the action. 1,100 is standard, says beats. Anybody else out there? We'll give it another 30 seconds. 1,100 sets up a pot size jam on turn, so I go with that. 1,100. Pre he was setting up, says red. I'm checking this. 1000%. Marlon check jamming. Whew. Marlon. Why are you so angry? Yeah, I think checking here is 100%. I mean, this smacks the flatting range here. Smack. Side chick big, welcome, welcome, welcome. She's checking. Nice. Marlon's so angry and aggro. What's up, Marlon? Yeah, this is definitely a check. 100% check. 100% check. 100% check. If this was something like King 9-8, King 9-4, and you see bet there, I could see that 100%. King 9 Jack, there's no way this is going to be a C bet. No way. No way. Everyone said 1100. The other problem too is like, look at our stack size. Like, and then when we get called here, like so many turns that are technically good bluffs up for us, are like they are all like great cards for them. 2 pairs and straights. People want the C-bet. We're C-betting, but the answer is going to be check. Here we go. 4 points. Check for the win.
If you guys have been watching me for a while on this site, you know when I tell you you 3-bet people and a guy calls you 2 cards 9 or higher, not so hot on the board because they tend to have high cards. Well, here we got 3 of them.
100%.
Bet 1100 doesn't work. Bet 1100 is the closest to correct because okay, if he does have 6-4 suited and stuff, which he damn well should if we're 3-betting here. Okay. You're almost right, but 1700, 2200, no, this is a check. So we do check, and the turn comes the 10 of hearts, and he checks to us. Now here, do we want to check? Bet 1100, bet 1700, or bet 2200?
Interesting. So definitely a check. Neckbeard, what's up, buddy? Welcome. Good to see you, man. Definitely a check, like we said. When he checks, C-bet percent is still so high. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, these boards are easy to check, right? 2 cards above a 9 is a general basic rule of thumb that, there's no absolutes in poker, but that's a good rule of thumb to whether you should C-bet or not when you have shit. And this has got the wettest board ever. Now, when he checks twice, this is really interesting. What do you guys think when he checks twice? Should we bet now? Are we just giving up when we check the flop? What do you guys think? Bet something, says Famous. Just bet. Bet. When he checks flop, God help him, says Marlon. I think he checks the flop with Jack X. Flop action went check, Neckbeard. How do you bet after checking now that his range is hitting on the cue? So here's the thing, Red. Here's the real thing. He's got 20K. We only have 7, and there's 3,400 in the pot, Cyrus. So here's the thing about the how do we bet? Do we think this guy checks a queen twice? Probably not. If he had 2 pair, he was going to bet the flop. The turn, if he turned 2 pair with something like Jack 10 or King 10 or 9-10, then he probably checks those for sure. I bet based on my hoodie, bet 1,700, he says. So yeah, I love betting. Probably not, but his range is all over that, and ours isn't touching at all. I disagree. I think we're checking Queen Jack. I think we're checking Ace Queen. I think we're checking actually Ace Queen probably jam. So Queen Jack. This is a Sicilianato, so he still has like Queen 8 suited for sure, and he's got 7-8 suited, which probably doesn't bet the ass end of it because they have showdown value. This is an overjam spot. The problem with the overjam spot, Marlon, is that like 2 pairs are still calling and everything is folding. I don't mind the overjam. The problem with the overjam is like, will we overjam a queen? Like we kind of want to get value when he checks like, but I would be betting big. So I think 1,100 is out. For me, it's 17 or 22. I would probably go 20. I think 1,700. If we go 1,700 get called, we can then jam river and really rep the queen. So if I had to guess, I think 1700. I agree, Red. I definitely agree. I see a lot of 1700s out there. Let's go 1700 and see what happens. 10 points for the win.
Now, one of the things I teach people when it comes to poker is when people get to the turn,
if they check
tend to
twice,
have
bet.
pairs if you see bet the flop.
Another general rule of thumb, like if they check twice, just close your eyes and bet. 2 napkins, a bubblegum wrapper, and a Cracker Jack tattoo. You know, a business card, and I don't know, something else. Just bet. Just bet.
Right? Because you see bet the flop, you usually get the high cards to drop out. Then you get to the turn, and there's pairs. Now, if you're going to fire that turn, you better be pretty sure those pairs are going to fold. Right here, you have a board that does not look good to any pair, right? He's got ace-king, ace-jack, ace-9, ace-10. All those hands were looking pretty mighty fine pre-flop. On the flop, turn not so hot. Jack-8 suited isn't in love with it. 10-8 suited, all those goofball hands. So here's the thing. If he's just got his suited gappers, right? His 9-7 suited, his 6-4 suited, his 7-4, 7-5 suited. None of this is good. And even if he does have a pair on this board, not great either, right? He's not feeling it. If he flopped 2 pair, he probably would have checked to us. There's a good chance he would have led a queen trying to set up an all-in on the river. So when he checks you, you know it's at best like 2 pair, right? Now, he checks to us. I think we should take a shot. I think 1100 is not getting any pair to fold. 2200 will obviously get a pair to fold, but I think a half pot here actually is right because that looks very value-y. And if this guy's gunning to fold a pair, that's all he's going to need, right? So we bet, and he calls. River is the 6 of diamonds. He checks to us. Now here, do you want to check? Do you want to bet 1125 from your 5,125 stack? Do you want to bet 3,400? Or do you want to bet all in?
Teacher says this proves that folding in the beginning was a correct play for me. Totally standard. He started it off with this. Totally standard. He just wants to mess with the super aggressive guy, the super small stakes for him, and own his world. Red Dog says jamming. He's repping the queen. Beer coaster, student ID, and a driver's license. The list goes on, right? I was thinking like the buy 10, get 1 free Chinese food card they stamp. And an expired credit card. What are you guys doing? Dogs is out there jamming. Subway card. There you go. What are you guys doing? Marlon, what are you doing? Cyrus, what are you doing? Ginger, what are you out there doing now? We're here. We gotta figure it out. How do we save this mess? You must have to jam with the line he took, says Red Dogs. I don't want to give my answer yet. I want to see what you guys are going to say, but I do have some thoughts on that, Red. Gabba J, time to check out. What? You have to continue the story, but I am okay to save my stack. At this point, Jam, says Joe. All in, but I'm scared to scare him. I don't know. Jam and rebuy, says Opus. I agree. We have to rip the queen. And so I think jam is definitely the right move. And I did think he set it up, Red. I think you're 100% on it on the river. I agree 1,000%. I would be jamming all day. So we take the image from him, right? Yeah, so basically it's just about, this one is about like a few things. So one, we know he's aggressive and laggy. So we know he's wide. 2, we have some pretty good information that he probably doesn't have a queen when he checks flop, checks turn. And so if he doesn't have a queen and he's got a wide range, he's going to have a lot of Jack X and 10X, and he's going to have some 2 pairs. And when we jam the river, it's really even hard for 2 pairs to call. Now, they're going to pick you off sometimes. But even still, like, and especially if they know it's Assassin out and that he's capable, or if it's me, for example, people know me. I don't think we can check. I think when we bet the turn, we have to bet the river. Because we're still getting floated by Jack X and, like, I don't know, Jack 8 with an 8, and things like that. And all those things, like 8 high still beats us. We have no showdown value. With this rundown not keeping him from being aggro with you, would this rundown not keep him from being aggro with you later, right? Yeah, so I think with this rundown, if he had the nuts, he would be aggro, and when he's got a lot of weak-ass showdown value that he can't call the overbet with. Jamming is definitely. Bilch, I don't know. I actually have to delete that because I don't have the home game anymore. That is not the password for the home game if you're looking for it. I am not the host of the home games anymore, so I don't know who's hosting. I think it's chat revoked, so you have to ask him for that one. Jamming, definitely the right answer. Let's see what happens. 10 points.
A lot of times you are not going to get the guy to fold the pair on the turn. The other part of the reason I like the 1700 shib bet, which I couldn't say on the last answer for obvious reasons, is look how much it looks like I set up the river jam here.
Absolutely.
The guy's decent, as I said in an earlier answer, so he's going to see that. And here's another thing. Let's say he calls you really quickly on the turn. It's you should just jam here regardless of how long it takes him to call. But let's say he calls you really quick. Most guys will not snap call with a queen. A lot of people will snap call, and it kind of caps their range. It's like, I don't have to think that much. Which, to be fair, this is one situation a guy could be trapping. Where the tiny tell is really valuable is, let's say the board comes 10 of diamonds, 8 of diamonds, 5 of spades. You see bet the guy snap calls you. Well, if he had a set of 10s, a set of 8s, a set of 5s, or 10-8, he would have had to have thought there for a second because there's multiple flush draws and straight draws out there. He would have to decide, am I going to call it? Am I going to milk this? Or am I going to check raise right now? Here, he doesn't have to think if he called really quickly. So that usually to me is like one pair, please don't bet again. But generally you should. I think you even get folds out of 10-9. Jack 10 is not going to be loving it. You could get picked off, but I think a lot of the time this is one pair that called once, just kind of hoping you'll lay off. This is a lot of one pair combinations. So when he checks, you set up the jam, and yeah, in this case it worked. The other part of the hand that really... the other thing, let me put a bow on this. We had this guy opening like a quarter of the hands. That is a lot of hands. And I said he's kind of going nuts in this hand, which means it's probably up towards 30. 30% of the hands has a lot of crappy pairs here that are folding. Right? You might even get a call out of 8s on the turn or 7s, garbage, right? There's much more like 9-7 suiteds and 10-8 suiteds and 10-7 suiteds and yada yada. If this guy's opening 18% of the hands, far less likely he has one pair on this river you can jam into. That's my final word.
He's fine. Spit it out. None of my lucky would call with 7s here. That's pretty funny beats. But I mean, if he does, it's a terrible call, and that's fine. That's fine. Because we'll have a queen here and 2 pairs here sometimes. Well, maybe not 2 pair. 2 pair we try and get the showdown, but we'll have a queen here enough to. Interesting one. We did pretty good on the Assassinado one, guys. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. Doug says later down the line, this player who's aggro, he might not be so crazy with us because we're fighting back. There's definitely some truth in that as well, Red. I could definitely see that argument. Absolutely. Marlon says, jamming in his eye and have his mom on the arena as a queen. Marlon's been hanging out at my house too much. He's starting to sound like me. Alright, I don't remember what I just clicked here, damn it. We got a quiz. It's an $800 tournament. I don't even know who the... It's a heads-up situation, so this is kind of cool. I think it was Matt Affleck. I didn't look. Don't you generally want to take those stands against aggros MTs? Yes and no. There's a lot of argument. It so it depends on stack size. I would say, Red. I'd say in this scenario, we had a 20 blind stack, so it was a little bit awkward, and we took a stand because we knew we could find places to get our chips all in and put an aggro player who's got a wide range in a tough spot. I think when you're super deep, you're 100 bigs deep against the super aggros, it's a lot easier. I mean, you obviously want to raise your value hands, but for the medium stuff, like the ace nine suiteds and like, you know, king queen suited, queen jack suited, a lot of times we want to kind of flat and then just call down a little lighter. Make sure you're calling down with second pair. You know, things like that because they're going to be barreling wide and things like that. So if you're deep, I would say going to more passive calling line and letting them spew is probably better. And when you're not deep, then we can put all our chips at risk and make it really tough on them. Let them hang themselves a bigger stack. Absolutely, Red. Absolutely. Do Canarios sing? They absolutely do, of course. Of course they sing. Cool. Let's play the video. Let's see what this heads up situation is, which is going to be interesting because heads up, one, as tournament players, we don't get there often enough, and two, I feel like I'm relatively solid heads up, but definitely not my biggest strength. Let's see what happens.
All right, guys. So we are heads up in a $10 MTT for all the marbles. Started with a few
It's
thousand.
Assassinato again.
Now we're going for it on an international site. We have 9-5 of clubs here in the big blind. Villain in the small blind is a solid reg, but he seems a little terrified. It's one of those guys, he's not letting the moment come to him. He's not trying to create the moment. He's just kind of sitting there like a deer in the headlights so far. We have 7.8 mil at 100K, 200K with a 22.5K ante. And he goes ahead and raises on the button. We just threw that a couple times. And both of them worked for us. So here, do we want to fold? Do we want to call? Do we want to raise to 800K? Or do we want to raise to 1 million?
Interesting spot already. So, for me, folding out of the question, especially for a mid raise. So we can just take that one out. So the question is, do we call? Do we 3-bet? What are we doing? Cyrus is calling. Excuse me. It's early still. We were up late last night. 1 mil says red. Notice, and I'm not trying to sway your answer, Red, but just something to point out. Excuse me. Alex has 3-betted a couple times in the last couple hands and got them through. So definitely just something to consider. Bates putting it up to him. 1 million. $1 million. I'm actually a little torn myself. $1 million, says Ginger. Might be short to $1 million. Wisco calling. I think I would 3-bet a lot in a lot of spots. I think I'm just calling here too. I think one, because it's suited, and I like to see flops with hands like this that are connected and suited, and for that reason. Two, a little bit argument I could see for the fact that he actually 3-bet the last 2 hands in a row. I think 800 is out. So for me, it's call or $1 million. Jay Bird, what's up, boss? Good to see you, brother. Thank you for the 10-month resub, man. So I could definitely see. Turn that one down a little bit. I could definitely see the $1 million. I would call. Let's see. It looks like we have more millions than call. So I'll go with the $1 million this time. I think I would call in this scenario. Oh, 100 biddies from Jaybird as well. Thank you, bud. All right, we'll raise it to $1 million. I think I would call. Bink! Call 10 points.
All right, guys. So here, if you wanted to lay off the 3-bet, that's totally fine. I think 3-betting is okay as well. If you just really think this guy can't play ball, just don't fold.
You guys see the stack
So
sizes?
we go ahead and call here. And the board comes king 7-3. Do we want to check? Bet 222K? Bet 425K?
A little better.
Or bet
We're gonna get this going live out
777K?
here. Too many options. All right, so now that I did that, we're done.
All right, guys. So
Sorry, we'll get it together.
If you wanted to lay...
All right, so we did elect to call 973, and did homeboy check? I missed that part.
412. So we go ahead and call here, and the board comes king 7-3. Do we want to check?
Oh.
Bet 222k. Bet 425k.
So the question is do we lead into the villain for 222, 425, or 777? Or do we check to the aggressor? What y'all think? Crickets. There it is. Check is red play from Red. Check from Cyrus. Ginger, you out there? What are you doing? Red is checking. Who else is out there? Wisco, what are you doing? Ginger's checking. Beats, where you at? Check raise, says Wisco. Donkey 222 says Beats. Ooh, controversy. Check raise. A little interesting with the backdoor flush, the backdoor straights, and a pretty dry board. I'm not 100% sure how I feel about that. I think checking is definitely the right answer. I mean, usually when we want to donk lead boards, it's usually going to be something like 3-4-7, 3-4-6, 5-4-2, stuff like that. A drop frames and now there's a short delay. I think there's already a like a 3-second delay automatically. Because I don't see any drop frames, buddy. Anyways, I think checking the aggressor is always going to be the right move. Let's figure it out.
I'm gonna have to save explanations for the end of this hand, guys. So I'm just gonna say it's a check, and he goes ahead and fires. Now here, do we want to fold? Do we want to call? Do we want to raise to 888,000, or do we want to raise to 1.1 million?
What y'all think? So we did check. We got the bet. Somebody said check raise. Who was that? Wisco. Wisco said check raise. Fold says dogs. Red Dog's running for his life. How much is the best bet relative to his stack size? So he's got 13.8. Let's do this. Is that better? Real life beats folding. Moving on to the next game. Check. Get uber aggressive on turn river. We don't got that option here, Marlon. We got bet into. 880 does the trick here most of the time, says Wisco. Interesting. I kind of like the check raise. I don't know if we can fold with backdoor clubs and let's see, 4-6 and 8-10. So no, and 6-10, right? 6-7. No, 6-8 and 4-6. So yeah, 2 backdoor straights, a backdoor flush. Am I lagging? I don't think I'm lagging. It looks clean as hell on my end, but you're the second person to say so. 880 seats best. I'm sorry. I think 880 is cool. I would tend to size up a little bit and go 1.1 more often. And then I could bet all the other cards on the turn. Puts 3 out there, 6 in my stack. Potentially jam river. Yeah, I think I would probably go 1.1 myself. 880 doesn't seem too bad though. 880 doesn't seem too bad. I see more 880s than 1.1 though. We'll go that route. I think I would actually size up. Well, let's see what happens. 4 points. 1.1 was the right answer for 10.
Check folding 9 high out of position is not a bad play, but in this particular situation, we call, and the turn comes the 3 of spades. Do you want to check, bet 333,333? Do you want to bet 700,700? Or do you want to bet 866,700? If you said fold, obviously check folding 9 high out of position is not a bad play, but in this particular situation we call. And the turn comes the 3 of spades. Do you want to check? Bet 333,333?
I call looking check raise turn and jam river says creepster.
Or do you want to bet 866,700?
I think calling is an okay option personally. A lot of the hands that we want to float with are generally better as check raises. I think this kind of falls in that category. On King 7-3, when they're just betting and c-betting, like they're generally going to have most of the time like a King of 7 maybe or nothing. And so we just take it down with the check raise so often. And the cool thing is we have a little security blanket with a double backdoor straight draws and the backdoor flush draw. So I like check raise better, but check call is pretty close. I don't think that's a terrible option, in my opinion. Cool. So we did raise it. 1.1 was the right answer. And now here we are. So far away from his style. I agree, Ginger, and I am too, but this is definitely a spot I would check raise for all those reasons. And now that we're here, what do we do? 1.4 in the middle. Check raise didn't work. We're checking. Giving up. 333, 770 or 866 here. What do you guys think? Definitely in a range, so bet big, says Marlon. 866, says Beats. I'm conflicted on this one. So far, I've been pretty right. I think I'm kind of figuring Assassinato out after all this time. But, man, because I would have bet 1.1 for sure, like I said, and sized it up a little bit. Here, and I would have flatted pre as well. Here, I feel like we're targeting a 7 to fold. A king is never folding. And so for me, 866 is out because I don't think I need to bet that big to get a 7 to fold. No, I ain't going to lie. In game, I lean toward the big bets. But I think 3 feels too small. I think I'm at 770 myself. Bot lady in the house. Hey, I hope you're having a good Saturday. Welcome to the study stream. Going against Ginger's just so uncomfortable. It's good to get uncomfortable, Ginger. Remember the old days when we first started studying together, how uncomfortable you were all the time? It's good to be uncomfortable. It opens up your mind, right? Mid pair is what we're targeting as well. Yeah. So like the 7s, the 8s, the 9s, pocket 10s, pocket jacks, pocket queens. In a real tough spot. But I don't think we need to go 866 necessarily to get those ones to fold. So I'm on 770 myself. 1, 2, 770s, 1, 866. We'll go with 770 and see what happens. 8 points. He liked the smaller bet. I can see that. I still have a 7 folds.
Let out 866, and it did work. Let me break down what he did here, which I really liked. First of all, if you just said fold to the flop c-bet, that's fine. But there's opportunities here if you think the guy's chicken ass, right? And there's a lot of guys that get heads up in a tournament and they're just not ready for that moment. And I have gotten away with some absurd things at final tables. I don't normally consider myself all that aggressive of a player. When it 2008, 2009, sure, I was aggressive.
Oh, he's evolved.
Because back then, people would fold top pair if you triple barreled. So it was kind of silly not to be aggressive. Eventually, everybody learned to hit the call button versus me. Not really a good idea to keep bluffing at that point, although I did try for a few years. But I remember I got to my W Coupe final table. I think that was the W Coupe. The Scoop. Anyway, it was a 1K. and it was the last tournament of that series, and everybody was playing it, and it was 7 a.m. in Costa Rica, and everybody just wasn't ready for the moment, and I got to play like a bat out of hell at that final table. I stood up for the entire final table to keep myself awake, and I just got away with murder, and I hadn't been able to play like that for years, but when everybody's looking at payout jumps and they're freaked out, you can get away with that, and there's a lot of moments here where you can make a couple bucks. So let's say on this flop, you actually, let me show you what's going on here. First things first is most
let me pause this for a sec and make it so we can see this better. When he goes into Flopzilla, that's better here. Let's go.
Are not going to defend with, I'm just going to do this myself. Most guys are not going to defend with high cards in a heads-up match at the end of a $10 tournament when they have never gotten this far before. Some guys will, some guys won't, but this guy has been playing like a deer in the headlights, right? So let's just take a look at what's going on here. So on this flop, we think he's raising this range. He's probably raising a little wider, but we'll just give him that to be careful. So king of clubs, 7 of hearts, 3 of diamonds we put out there. And what we're going to find is he doesn't have a pair here 56% of the time. So if you just said leads 77K, 777K on this flop, I actually think that's a fine move. That bet needs to work 46, 47% of the time. Almost assuredly, you're getting a fold 56% of the time. That's totally fine. Betting half pot, I think you start getting the ace highs to call you down. Same thing with third pot. So those were red herrings. Those weren't real. You weren't supposed to pick those. Once you check, this was a very advanced play, which he called and led here. Now, if you said check raise on this flop, I actually think that's fine as well, because he's most likely c-betting every single hand in his range, which means he still has nothing, right? But our hero here did something, which is he said, look, I got some backdoors. I got a backdoor flush draw. I got a backdoor straight draw. Maybe instead of check raising, I'll call and I'll lead the turn. And normally, if you're playing 1-2 at the Flamingo, you might not want to do that because people just kind of get pissy on the turn, and they go, okay, I'm going to call just to see what you do on the river. If it's $40 or something they can part with. In an MTT where they're afraid to look dumb and the guy's already looked like he's a deer in the headlights, at minimum we can assume he's probably folding high cards, right? So this turn card comes out, and it doesn't help our hand, but it actually makes it less likely he has anything. So let me show you that. So he c-bets everything on this board. So we're going to take all these hands. He c-bets all of them. And on the turn's the 3 of spades. And now we give him any pair. Now he's got nothing 59% of the time. That 3 made it less likely. Obviously, it's less likely he has a 3 now because we just removed one from the deck. So our hero here leads 866,700, which needs to work 866,700 divided by 232,010. It needs to work. I did that wrong. Oh no, I didn't. Yeah, it's a little over half pot. So yeah, it needs to work 37% of the time. So our buddy here needs to defend 63% of the time, which means he's going to need to dig. He's at 41. He's going to need to dig into a lot of these ace highs, guys. That is a big ask of a guy who is at the final table of a tournament that maybe he's played once a day for years and he's never gotten this far, because that is something a lot of regs do. You know, they play while they're studying, or they play while they're at their store or something like that. But And then they're finally there, and it's like, oh my god, don't make a dumb mistake. And don't make a dumb mistake turns into just fold your high card stupid, and that becomes a point of exploitation for us. And that's exactly what happened here.
Oh God, we're here. Interesting spot. Interesting spot. Yeah, Assassino quiz is tough, guys. Super tough. Betting super small was interesting. The 33, I thought sevens would still call because we're getting a good price. But yeah, 8 points for the bigger bet. I think it's great, Deuterino. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Pete says, nice to see him say the best line is not the one he actually did. We've had a lot of those spots where there was some where like fold pre. If you watch the video, the intro video we do when we start these streams to let people roll in, there's a spot where Sixes and I are talking, and it's Queen Jack in relatively early position. And he's like, you don't play this? And I was like, yeah, I don't play this. And he's like, I would cry if you said just to fold this. And I was like, well, it's here. He has to play it, right? Like, I'm already down on points. And then in the end, fold was the best answer, which was hysterical. So they definitely do that. Mickey Anudis, what's up, guys? How y'all doing? Like I said before, if you missed the beginning part of the stream, because I think we only got about one quiz left in us today. If you missed the beginning part of the stream, I record these and put them on the YouTube channel. That link will be shared on Twitter and Facebook. So you can go back and watch those. If you have any questions or comments, you can subscribe on YouTube, and you could put the timestamp in there, and I'll definitely get back to them. And then we are here studying the pokercoaching.com quizzes by Jonathan Little. He's got a bunch of coaches on there that create quizzes, one of them being myself. Crazy Sixes, another one out there making quizzes, and then Assassinato, Matt Affleck, John Little, and Evan Jarvis, and oh Jesus, I'm forgetting the Lexi Gavin, right? I may have done that wrong. They have a brand new coach, and I'm pretty sure it's Lexi. I just want to double check that before I give you guys some bad information. I'll double check that because I forget. I'm pretty sure it's Lexi Gavin. We'll get to one more quiz. As well. Lexi Gavin, I was right. So let's scroll down and see what we got. Ooh, here's an Evan Jarvis one. That's interesting. I don't know that I've taken any Evan Jarvis quizzes because he's mostly a cash game player. And has mostly cash game quizzes. So that'll be interesting. Let's check it out. Pete says, thanks for doing this. Got to run to Vegas for the day. Hey, have a good day, man. Drive safe from Pahrump. And we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for hanging out, buddy. All right, let's check this out. Let's do Evan Jarvis. That'll be interesting. I don't know anything about like the way he looks at poker. King 10 in a small blind. We'll play it. Is this cash game? No. Bounty event and run it up Reno. Shit. Is this the one that you final table, Marlon? This could be the one you final table potentially. Let's play it and find out.
All right, this is a hand from the $1,100 bounty event at Run It Up Reno. This is a super knockout event where half of the prize pool is a bounty prize pool. So it's $1,000 entry plus $100 rake.
Could be. I think it's the one you found.
$500 goes to the prize pool and $500 goes to the bounty. It's currently the 5th level of the tournament or so. Blinds are 300, 500 with a 500 big blind ante. So there's 1,300 in the middle. You've got King 10 offsuit in the small blind. Action is folded around to the button, who kind of looks at his cards in a way that he's not super interested in his hand, and then moves all in for 7,000 or 14 big blinds. Action is on you in the small blind. You cover him. The big blind, who is Nathan Manuel, a successful streamer and very sharp gentleman, has you covered. So you can win the bounty off the player on the button. Nathan can win a bounty off both of you. And facing this 14 big blind shove, what should you do? Should you fold, call, min raise to 14,000, or go all in?
What do you guys think? This is an interesting spot for sure. And it's a bounty tournament, which I know changes things a bit. And honestly, I don't play a whole lot of bounty tournaments. One, they're not offered to that many people in the U.S. sites. And two, like, I know they're all the rage, but there's certain things about bounty tournaments that just personally for me drive me crazy. Two things. I was just talking about this with Marlon the other day. We were hanging out. Two things that drive me crazy about bounty tournaments is when you win them. Sometimes you have tournaments where you don't eliminate a lot of people, and then you win the tournament. I like to win MTTs, and you win less, and that bugs me. And the other thing that drives me nuts is when I get somebody all in and they have like 25 chips left, and somebody else gets my bounty. Like I did all the work. Like I don't tilt. You guys see, like I generally don't tilt from bad beats, but that stuff tilts the shit out of me. So, anyways, what are the blinds here? 300, 500. It's a weird bounty. He said it was 300, 500 with a 500 ante. Right? So I guess that'd probably be $100. No. Something like that, right? And then we have, so I'm running this. What do you guys do? Sorry. Fold call, raise 1400 or go all in. Can I fit the screen? Sure. Give me 1 sec. Better? While you guys are doing that, there's a math answer to this that I'm going to try and run. Opa says, never crush bounties, cash okay, but a few bounties, me too. Bounty tournaments, perplex you, Cyrus, yeah. ICM spot, we fold. I guess we know what the bounty and Chris pay jump. Yeah. So I'm going to plug this in while you guys talk us out real quick. I'll plug it into ICMizer and then kind of show you what I'm doing. I don't want to give anything away. We are in the small blind. The button jams for 7. And it's all in. We have 23. Big blind has 34,500. Interesting. Mars is okay with the pre-jam. Hey, no problem, Jack Rag. Welcome, man. Welcome. Junior says fold, but with the bounties that maybe the play is the min raise to deter the big blind from getting a good price to fold. Rejam? Don't think flatting here is an option. So interesting enough, if we plug this into ICMizer, I'm okay with rejam here, but I can see folding. Yeah, I would likely 14. I would have a tough spot. If we bring an ICMizer here, you could see there's the jam. We're in the small blind, and this is a clear fold. So the question is since the small blind wasn't that interested in their hands, let's look what the range is. Do we think he is jamming tighter than this? I actually think he's probably jamming a bit tighter than this. I don't know if he's jamming some of this I would say something if I had to guess. Something like, yeah. It's not that much tighter, right? And if he's tighter, it's just going to make this a worse call. So I think mathematically this is definitely a fold in general. So the question becomes does the bounty change that for any reason? If I went out bounty change it, yeah. If it's ace-jack, we're 60-40 or 40-60. So it's actually not the worst of the world. If he's got ace-10, we're screwed, and that sucks. If he's got like ace-8, ace-5, ace-4, not the end of the world. We're 40-60. We're going to win that almost half the time. So yeah, sorry, that was my work texting me. God, I'm not sure. I think I would fold. I could potentially see calling for the bounty. And I kind of like calling better than flatting. Oof, God, if we call, he can come over the top and push us off and get the fucking bounty. If we click this back, we're committed. So it's all in or call, for sure. Can I put ICMizer back? Absolutely. So this is what the calling range looks like. None of the suited stuff. This is what the jamming range looked like. Not with Nathan behind us. Right, because we flat, he could punish us. I mean, it's one of those weird things where, like, I might flatten a bounty with a strong hand to try and get him to come over the top, too. Right? I could also see him pushing us off, and he's capable. I don't know Nathan at all. I don't know anything about him, but he sounds like he's pretty capable. And if we flat, he can push us off a lot. And we can't click back. So it's basically all in a fold for sure. I would think. He's a killer, says Molly. Which is making me lean toward all in. Cyrus is all in. Nudie says he's okay with the rejam. Anybody else out there got any thoughts before we click the button? Knock yourself at sixes. That's why I reach out. Thank you for the nice words, buddy. I appreciate the respect. Shit. All right. Go away, Mike. Cool. So here it is. I'm gonna guess that 14,000. We can't do 14,000 in like fold. That sucks. Yeah. So I guess rejam's gonna be the right answer. Let's see what happens. 8 points. Calling 10. So he did
Now,
like the
in
call
a normal
fold.
tournament,
I was gonna do
in this
anything. I mean, obviously,
situation,
in-game, that's what I would do.
King 10 offsuit is definitely a fold. From a chip EV perspective,
That's what we saw in ICM last week.
if the button is shoving something in the range of the top 30% of hands and the big blind is overcalling the top 5% of hands,
34%.
calling here is going to show a negative expectation of about a big blind. So it's definitely a losing play in a normal situation. Now, in a bounty tournament, there are some other factors at play. The first one is that half the prize pool goes towards the bounty. So in terms of dead money in the pot, it's kind of like there's an extra starting stack in the middle every time that someone is, putting their bounty at risk. So from a pot odds perspective, you could pretend like there's 28,000 in the middle instead of 8,000. And from that perspective, you can see that pot odds wise, it's definitely a call. The other thing about bounties is with the bounty being significant, like half of the prize pool, you want to be in a position where you can hunt bounties and collect bounties to make that part of the prize pool accessible to you throughout the tournament. If you play a tight strategy in bounties and you never have anyone at the table covered, you're basically missing out on half the money in the prize pool. Whereas if you build your stack and have people covered, you have the ability to pick up that half of the prize pool. So that's pretty significant in terms of your bottom line in the tournament. So for that reason, in a bounty tournament, I don't like making this fold. But in a regular tournament, I would definitely make this fold for 14 big blinds. So then the questions are, do we call, raise to 14,000, or go all in? I think all of them are pretty close. The downside to going all in is that now the big blind, who is a capable player, knows that he has the opportunity to collect 2 bounties. So now he's going to be getting those super pot odds from the extra bounty overlay in the middle and be more eager to call off with a wide range, which we don't necessarily want when we're the player at risk. The ideal situation is we play for the bounty and Nathan folds. Raising to 14,000 puts us in a situation where we're pot committed and doesn't really accomplish much, whereas calling both gives us the ability to play for the bounty, and then if Nathan moves in, puts us in a spot where the odds are very close as to whether or not we're priced in to call, but we have a decision. And the important thing about that is Nathan's not guaranteed to get to play for our bounty. It's up in the air whether or not we're going to call off or not. So given that information, I think by calling as opposed to going all in, Nathan is going to play a slightly narrower range of hands, and he's going to fold a bit more often, which is what we really want. Nathan to fold and us to get to go up against the button with whatever hand he's holding. So we call, big blind folds. Our opponent has ace-4 offsuit, which kind of makes sense for a hand that he's like, it's not really super good. He probably saw the 4 first and was like, but whatever, I'm short stacked, I'm all in. And you flop a 10 and hold up, picking up a $500 bounty, building your stack to 31,000 and covering a lot of the players on the table, which makes that bounty part of the prize pool up for grabs.
Yeah, so definitely a fold in a normal MTT and the call here so that he could fold if anything comes over the top. That makes a lot of sense to me. I think that would definitely be the way that I would play this. In most spots where there's a jam here and I have a hand that I want to call, absolutely. Calling here like chips on fire, not really, because Nathan has to have a hand good enough to squeeze. And then we just get away. And it's always going to be better than King 10, right? Always going to be better. This is good to know for 2 weeks and then tourney comes again. Absolutely, Marlon. Absolutely. All right, guys. This was a good one. This was a good one. Another study stream in the books. I appreciate all of you for coming out and hanging out with me today and doing this. Creep says, I really like the argument that the weaker play call makes more sense. The big blind needs to play a tight range. Yeah, because when you jam, you look like you're trying to isolate. When you flat, you could be trying to get away. You could be trapping, right? Absolutely. Good viewers today. Good involvement. A lot of new people in there. For the new people, please click that follow button, little heart-shaped icon right about there on your screen. It is free. We do this every Saturday. Generally, it's me and my partner, Crazy Sixes. He couldn't make it this weekend, but he'll be back next weekend as well. And we do a little competition about whose chat can get a better score. So make sure that you show up for these. Replay is always on the YouTube channel. So there you go. Here's YouTube, I think. So you can watch the replay. Here is the link to pc.com where you can get some sign up for free. Use that link, sign up for free, get 20 free quizzes and some homeworks and stuff. Or you can sign up for the premium membership and you get access to over 600 quizzes by coaches me, coaches Crazy Sixes, coaches Jonathan Little, Sassinato, Matt Affleck, and Evan Jardis. So there you go. Marlon got his brain all warmed up and firing at tables. Absolutely. All right, guys. So, yeah, make sure you click the link, click the follow on YouTube, click all the damn follows. We'll be back next Saturday for that. We'll be back Sunday playing live on delay tomorrow with the big Sunday and trying to get that juju. I'm going to throw the host over to our buddy Chat Revoked. Give him some love as well, guys, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Peace.